must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
We discuss Africa. We see what ails Africa. And today, this afternoon, we want to see whether Sudan will permanently remain a sick child of Africa. Is it a permanent sickness? Can we resolve the issues of Southern Sudan? Is it something that has gone wrong for 200 years? There has always been a problem in Southern Sudan, in that great region, starting from all the way the Alimadi Wars and the rest of all what happened until today. Peace seems to be elusive. Why has UN taken slow action? Why hasn't UN set up a tribunal? We want to see a tribunal that will make sure that Southern Sudan people are accountable. Those who committed crimes against the human beings. 20,000 Sudanese perished. They are perished. They are not accountable. Nobody can account for them. And we cannot sit here, go on hammering peace agreements without mechanisms of accountability. If we set a tribunal for Sierra Leone, for Rwanda, for Cameroon Rouge, we need somebody to stand up for the poor masses, the masses that have died, the masses that continue to die, the masses that are being brutalized, murdered, maimed on a daily basis by marauding armies of both Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. There must be an accountability. You are not going to sit here and tell people there is no accountability in Southern Sudan. There must be a tribunal. Why do we run to harass countries of Kenya, put ICC on Kenya, put ICC on this country, put ICC on Central African Republic? Why have we delayed on putting a tribunal for Southern Sudan to find out who is killing, who has been killing, how they have been killing people? Let me speak for the people in Southern Sudan, the women, the children who have not gone to school, the children who have no medicine, the children who have nothing, who have been running since 2013, and the war cannot end because of two people. Let them face the tribunal. I'm not going to keep quiet as a Pan-African to see Southern Sudan being maimed, being tortured, being cut, dismembered. And we keep quiet and watch people got images of people, of malcontents singing to us in Uganda, in Kenya, in Ethiopia, in South Africa, telling us they have money. Let them face the international tribunal and tell the tribunal who gave them the guns, where they buying them, how they were killing people. Enough of is enough. Enough is enough for Africa. We have had enough. There is no need of that anymore. Enough is enough. And if people have died, they will not cry. We people who are left on planet Earth must cry for them. We must find justice for them. We must make sure that there are leaders who go on bragging on television stations all over the world, who are accountable. They must be behind bars.
A very good morning to you and a warm welcome to today's show. The show is Good Morning Africa, and I am Miriam Ogutu, coming to you all the way from the Kenya's capital in Nairobi. And of course, today what continues to make headlines is the historic ousting of another African strongman that was ousted out of the power yesterday, and that is Sudan's now former president, Mr. Omar al-Bashir. I can look at the Kenyan headlines here, all the major newspapers, and that is what is making headlines. And I've seen also across the world and all the major news networks across the world, that is what is making headlines from yesterday. And so thank you so much for joining us, and I'll go right into today's news, and we'll start with Sudan, where large crowds have remained on the streets of Sudan's capital, Khartoum, ignoring a nighttime curfew declared by the military after the overthrow of President Omar al-Bashir. State television announced that Defense Minister Awad bin Auf would chair a governing military council. The organizers of the demonstrations described it as a clown administration. They urged more people onto the streets to protect what they call the revolution and to push the military to hand over power to an interim civilian administration. And still in matters Sudan, the United States State Department has expressed support for a civilian-led transition in Sudan, and it has said it should happen sooner than the 2-year period set by the military. A State Department spokesperson, Robert Palladino, said that the Sudanese people should determine who leads them, and the people are demanding a civilian-led transition, and the position is that they should be allowed to do that sooner than the 2 years that the military has given. And still on Sudan, the leaders of Sudan's protest movement have rejected the army's coup d'etat that deposed President Omar al-Bashir and replaced by a transitional military council. They have therefore called on the people to continue their sit-in outside the army headquarters in Khartoum and across the country until their demands are met. The Alliance for Freedom and Change said in a statement that the regime led a military coup by presenting the same faces from whom the people have risen against in the recent months. And the African Union has condemned the military takeover in Sudan, and this is according to a statement. And the chairperson, Mr. Musa Faki, said that military takeover is not the appropriate response to the challenges facing Sudan and the aspiration of its people. Specifically, he criticized the unconstitutional change of government. He added that the Peace and Security Council will meet swiftly to make appropriate decisions. And we move on to the next country, which is South Sudan. And political leaders, including the leaders of the two main warring fractions, President Salva Kiir and rebel leader Riek Machar, on Thursday concluded a 2-day retreat in the Vatican that sought to heal bitter divisions that have fueled conflict since 2013. The world's youngest nation is due to set up a unity government next month after the September 2018 peace deal that was negotiated in the Sudanese capital of Khartoum. We go to Libya, where the United Nations published a first assessment of the conflict a week after the start of offensive by forces of Khalifa Haftar. According to the World Health Organization, 56 people died, 266 were injured, and the World Health Organization now says that thousands of people have fled their homes and many more are still trapped in conflict zones. The assessment is expected to change rapidly as fighting rages between the attackers and groups close to the government of national unity recognized by the international community. And we go to Mozambique, where Zimbabwe's government plans to compensate white farmers who lost their land not Mozambique, but Zimbabwe, and government plans to compensate white farmers who lost their land years ago in a fast-track land reform program that has angered South Africa firebrand politician Julius Malema. According to Malema, the leader of the economic freedom fighters, President Emmerson Mnangagwa was being a sellout by agreeing to compensate the farmers. Speaking in Johannesburg, Malema said it was particularly worrying for a financially burdened country as Zimbabwe to find money for other reasons than elevating poverty. And in Mozambique, the World Bank estimates the direct economic losses from Cyclone Idai in Mozambique to range from $656 million to $773 million, covering damage to buildings, infrastructure, and agriculture. A note sent out via the United Nations said on Thursday. In the note, dated sometimes last week, the World Bank said its approach does not capture indirect losses such as reduced productivity or business interruptions, and could only provide a certain degree of accuracy. And we still go to Zimbabwe, and the IMF have agreed to a raft of measures aimed at reviving the Southern African nation's moribund economy and facilitate its re-engagement with global lenders, the fund announced yesterday. We go to the Democratic Republic of Congo, where now the army said Thursday that it had killed 36 Burundian rebels in a 3-day operation in the eastern province of South Kivu, abating Burundi. 3 soldiers were killed and 4 were injured in the operation, which targeted positions of Burundian rebels of the National Forces of Liberation and Republican Forces of Burundi, said the provincial army spokesperson Captain Deodone Kasereka. And in Ambazonia, for the first time, a part of the humanitarian assistance aid from Canada will go to the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon for security purposes. In an audience granted by the Prime Minister Joseph Dion Ngute on April 10th, the Assistant Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Canada in charge of Sub-Saharan Africa, Leslie Norton, announced Canada's aid to Cameroon for 2019 which will be about $6.65 million. The aid is meant for the north, east, and newly added northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. We move to Algeria, where now Algeria will hold a presidential election on July 4th. The interim presidency said on Wednesday, after weeks of mass protests that led to the resignation of long-serving leader Abdelaziz Bouteflika. No further details were immediately given, and yesterday, interim President Abdelkader Ben Salah said that he would organize free elections within 90 days. And of course, in South Africa, members of South Africa's governing African National Congress, ANC, have abandoned plans to ban the book Gangster State following strong criticism from senior leaders of the party. National Assembly Speaker and ANC member Baleka Mbete said she condemned in the strongest terms the repressive acts of criminality and flagrant attack on the key principles of the Constitution and democracy that threatens to ban the copies, which exposes the alleged corruption of the powerful ANC Secretary General Ase Magashule in his home province of Free State. And we go to Madagascar, where now the government in Madagascar has suspended the entire police force in a town in the northeast after a riot broke out following the death of a young man in police custody. The 19-year-old died on Saturday after spending a night in a police cell, prompting angry crowds to take onto the streets of Marontsera. More than 20 houses were burned, most of them belonging to the police. And some business news across Africa, and economic growth in sub-Saharan Africa has been lowered to 2.3% for 2018, down from 2.5% in 2017. This is according to the April 2019 issue of Africa's Pulse, the World Bank's biannual analysis of the state of African economies released earlier this week. And in other news, Rwanda's national airline will this month launch direct flights to the capital of Democratic Republic of Congo. The development is significant as the two countries make efforts to harmonize bilateral and trade relations that have in the past been derailed by conflict and suspicion. And the DRC is Rwanda's main export destination, accounting for 86.9% of Kigali's informal cross-border exports, according to the local New Times media portal. Rwanda Air said it will operate 3 weekly direct flights on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays in its Kigali hub to Njili International Airport, the Democratic Republic Congo's largest airport. And Tanzania's Energy and Water Utilities Regulatory Authorities has increased retail and wholesale prices for petrol and diesel imported through the port of Dar es Salaam. Kerosene prices remain unchanged in the latest review of pump prices. Ewura Acting Director General Zinjanga Mchani attributed the price review into an increase in the world oil prices. For the month of April 2019, retail prices of petrol increased by Tanzania shillings 49 shillings per litre and diesel at 61 Tanzania shillings per litre. And that is the latest this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, what is still making headlines is what has taken place in Sudan yesterday, and what has culminated from a very intense protest since Saturday that has seen one of Africa's strong men leave office, and that is Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir. And of course, this was met with a lot of jubilations and celebrations in the streets of Khartoum and across Sudan. And of course, immediately when the army came in, the Minister of Defense, and is the one who will be taking over, and made some announcements that are seen to be very not sitting well with the people, because what the minister said is that there will be a curfew starting from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning, and we can see from the reports yesterday actually the protesters defied this curfew and they stayed in the streets and they continued their protest, and now they're demanding that they want actually a civilian transition and a civilian administration. And so it's not very clear how this two-year army transition that they had announced earlier will sit with the people of Sudan. And of course, we've seen a lot of leaders coming out, leaders from UK, leaders from the EU, leaders from the US also, and they've shared the sentiments about the two-year military transition time, and they're saying this could be a lot of time, and who knows, you know, power sometimes can be very sweet. 2 years, who knows what is the next plan? Maybe they will not even want to give this power back to a civilian administration. And so these are some of the things that are still keeping Sudan protesters in the streets, and they refuse to honor the curfew that was given by the defense minister, Mr. Awad Ibn Auf, who is now in charge and will chair governing military council. And the organizers are saying, no, this is a cloned administration. Basically, this is another Bashir, because they worked under his administration. They're very quiet, the very close allies with the former president. So the protesters are still saying, no, there's not much difference between this person, the army defense minister, because who put him to the position of defense minister? It is the former president, ex-president now, Omar al-Bashir. And so the protesters are saying, no, this is a cloned Omar al-Bashir. What we want is a civilian administration. And so they're still in the street. And of course, we've seen the international and the Western powers coming in and urging the protesters, and of course pushing for also a civilian administration. So it's still very early in the celebrations, and it's not been very clear. You know, the celebrations are very short-lived. After the announcements were made, they don't know what to do next. And so the celebrations are a bit mixed. It's a bag of mixed feelings. They don't know whether to be happy that Omar al-Bashir is gone, or whether to be glad, or whether to worry about the next 2 years being under military rule. And so they're still out there in the streets. And you've seen the United States State Department expressing its support for a civilian-led transition. And I also saw a tweet from the same from United Kingdom, I think yesterday, and across the EU and across, of course, the Western powers. And of course, they're happy with that, but also they're not very glad that military wants to be in place for 2 years. And even here yesterday, we expressed that 2 years is a long time, and what really is necessary. And the 3-month curfew, this will only agitate the protesters. And we could see that yesterday they defied the orders to stay indoors, the 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. curfew. Nobody paid attention to that. They stayed put, and they're still protesting. Of course, Dr. David Matanga will be joining me very shortly. And our main topic today in the Diaspora Dispatches is the state of democracy in Africa. And we'll be looking at case studies, and we'll start with Kenya, and we'll go to Cameroon. Remember, Paul Biya has been in power since the 1982, so now it's about 36 years. And now, if you've been following the events in Cameroon, even the main opposition leader, Maurice Kamto, is facing serious charges of sedition, insurrection, and inciting violence. So that is a case that is still continuing. And then we'll go to Uganda, of course, where the democracy there has been very dicey. And we've seen a very heavy crackdown on opposition, and they've been demanding for some constitutional reforms. And of course, there's the murky issue of term limits that is not there. And it's a mixed bags of everything that goes against what will be considered the modern democracy. So, and we'll also look at Sudan, of course, with the current events and what is happening. And has this really made some of these African leaders to worry? Are they jittery? Are they anxious? Or are they still sitting there? And hopefully, I hope that the citizens that they're leading will just be okay with a lot of these long-serving leaders in Africa that have refused to give way to new minds and new ways of leadership. And also we'll go to South Africa, of course, with the recent events of xenophobia, which a lot of this roots down from the days of apartheid. A lot of these issues were never addressed, and now we see them just coming out now, the symptoms. And just a few weeks ago, a lot of foreigners from other African countries faced a lot of violence from some parts of South Africa. And with the end of the apartheid in 1994, the people of South Africa anticipated, profound social and economic changes that have not seen to have taken fruition. And so a lot of South Africans are feeling, is this even working for us? Is this democracy even working for us? What is really happening? And so that leads to some of this chaos we see in the name of xenophobia in this rainbow nation in South Africa. And so we'll move in to South Sudan, and the two leaders finished their spiritual retreat from the Vatican, and we'll get the details, and we'll talk about that when Dr. Matanga is here. And also in Zimbabwe, what is really happening in Zimbabwe? Many citizens and international observers cautiously hope that this South African country will find its way from what was considered a dictatorship leadership of ex-President Robert Mugabe to a new, democracy under the new leader. But of course, we've seen immediately after the elections, and the opposition came out to say the elections are not done properly. It was marred with a lot of rigging and a lot of electoral malpractices. And the government met the protesters from the opposition with a lot of force and brutality that some Human Rights Watch recorded. And now that also attracted even other new sanctions from the United States, for the United Kingdom, which was already in a process of trying to find a way to write off Zimbabwe's debts, which are really bad out there. They're not able to get any more funding or money because their debt is really bad out there. So a country like the UK was in the process of working a way to write off some of these debts that Zimbabwe owes it. But after what happened immediately after the elections, they said, no, we're not going to write off your debts. So it's just a dicey situation, and really a lot of problems to a country that is already sinking deep into its economic woes. And also we'll take a look at Libya and what is happening right now in Libya, in case you've been following, and I hope you've been following. What is happening there under the offensive that has been meted by, General Haftar, that has caused a lot of deaths right now. Of course, Libya is a democracy, but is one that is extremely fragile and in its political order. And we've seen that since the end of dictatorships, Muammar Gaddafi's dictatorship in 2011, that country has not known peace until today. So on the 4th of April, actually earlier this month, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres had actually gone through Tripoli to have a peace meeting, convention with the warring factions. And guess what? that is when General Haftar decided to, bomb the place. And so the peace conference that was hoped to take place did not take place, because hours after Guterres arrived, Khalifa Haftar, the warlord who controls much of the country, launched an offensive into Tripoli. Can you believe that? And we'll also look at Gabon. And we know Gabon also has its own shares of democratic challenges. The leader now, Ali Bongo, the father, had led the country for 41 years. That is Omar Bongo, and he died in 2009. And Ali Bongo, the father Omar Bongo, Ali Bongo was elected, and he's been in power there until today. That is about 10 years now. And remember, earlier this year in January, there was an attempted coup against his administration while he was still receiving treatment in Morocco. And so he just returned to Gabon a few weeks ago. I think now he's fully recovered, and he's just reconstituted his cabinet. And people in Gabon have been feeling, your father led us for 41 years. You've been here 10 years. So basically, the Bongo family has been on office for 51 years. Some parts of the country are feeling, when is this going to end? So democracy there is very interesting. And we look at Tanzania, and there's been some human rights reports are saying, the democratic space in Tanzania is increasingly reducing, because the president Magufuli has been introducing very interesting laws, even in parliament. Some laws were passed that are seen to really curtail the opposition and the democratic space. So we will also look at that. And of course, the Democratic Republic of Congo and Eritrea, which takes its framework of a single-party presidential republican it's a totalitarian dictatorship, whereby the Eritrean president is both head of state and head of government. So basically, let me read you something about Eritrea that is very interesting. The popularly elected National Assembly has 150 seats, formed in 1993, shortly after independence, and they really ratified a new constitution in 1997, but has not been implemented many years. I think now it's 12 years later. The constitution has not been implemented. And of course, in 2001, the government closed down all the nation's privately owned print media, and outspoken critics of the government have been arrested and held without trial. So really, democracy in a lot of these African countries are on trial, basically. And so that is what is happening. So anyway, back to Sudan, and the crowds have remained in the streets of Khartoum, ignoring a nighttime curfew declared by the military after the overthrow of President Omar al-Bashir. So this is still our developing story, and we will keep you up to date in what is really happening and new developments as we continue to receive them. And of course, African Union's position, maybe this was expected, and we were talking about it here yesterday, because the African Union, first of all, you cannot join it if you were under military rules. So we've seen the chairperson, Musa Faki Mohammed, coming out yesterday and issuing a statement. And part of that statement, he said that military takeover is not the appropriate response to the challenges facing Sudan and the aspirations of its people. So basically saying whatever happened in Sudan is not right, is not encouraged. And as an African Union, because I believe he's speaking for African Union, then the organization is not happy and is not supportive of what happened in Sudan, and he's saying he's specifically criticizing the unconstitutional change of government. He's saying that is not constitutional, whatever happened in Sudan, and also adding that the Peace and Security Council will meet swiftly to make appropriate decisions. So the African Union, according to the statement by its chair, Musa Faki, is saying they'll have a meeting very, very soon, I think very urgently, and they'll be looking at the events that have since transpired in Sudan. And they were also supposed to be meeting, I don't know, sometimes in July to look at what is happening in Libya. But at that time, just after Mr. Al-Sisi was elected to lead the union, and the events in Libya might have overtaken the time, but we'll see. I was hoping by now they would have had also a swift and a very urgent meeting on Libya, but they've not done that yet. But we can see here he's saying they'll have a meeting very soon and look at the events that have happened since in Sudan. So we will see how that works out. And now the other issue that the world has been waiting for, the South Sudanese political leaders who had a spiritual retreat, as the Vatican said, at the Vatican just concluded a 2-day retreat, and they sought to heal bitter divisions that have fueled conflict since 2013. And something that really made headlines, especially on social media, is the act of Pope himself going down and kissing their feet. And that really got Twitter charged up, and there's a lot and other social media platforms. And they were wondering, will this really heal? I saw another headline in the morning in one of some international news outlets, and they were saying, will the kiss by the Pope on their feet, make a difference? Will it help these leaders tone down on their rhetorics? Will it help them try to see the sense in finding peace in South Sudan? And so not much information was divulged from what transpired in the 2-day spiritual retreat, but hopefully it is something that can bring hope and peace moving forward to the citizens of South Sudan. And so the world's youngest nation is due to set up a unity government next month after the September 2018 peace deal that was negotiated in the South Sudanese capital of Khartoum. So Riek Machar was supposed to be returning to Juba next month. We're yet to see if he will do that. And the Pope encouraged them, you know what, we all need peace, your people needs peace. And so he encouraged them to go and find a lasting peace in back at home. And so Kiplagat Abraham, thank you for joining this morning. Dominic, all right. You're saying the announcement was unfortunate. They're the same face people, NCBP, Bashir people. Okay. I think you're referring to the Defense Minister Awad Ibn Auf announcement that the military will take over for 2 years and the 3-month curfew. And you're saying that is unfortunate. Indeed, it is unfortunate. And the Sudanese don't even know what to do anymore. They don't know whether to celebrate or to get worried and be anxious about the new laws and the new information that the Defense Minister Awad Bin Auf, made yesterday. So they do not want to be governed by a military council. That is for sure. They've made it very clear. So the announcement. So Igwe Royal, you're saying problem in Sudan. Yes, if it continues like that, then that is a problem. And Dominique, you're saying democracy in Africa is just used as a toilet paper. What is happening in Sudan? It's people's will. Indeed, and it is people's will, and they're still stuck in the street, and they're saying we're not coming out of the streets until we get a civilian administration. So I'm just going to take a very short break, and on the other side of the break, after we return, Dr. Matanga will be joining me to continue with the show. Remember, we're going to look at the state of democracy in Africa. Please don't go too far. Good Morning Africa. We'll be right back.
Our ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, laid out a clear agenda for reform, but despite reported and repeated warnings, no action at all was taken. So the United States took the only responsible course. We withdrew from the Human Rights Council, and we will not return until real reform is enacted. For similar reasons, the United States will provide no support in recognition to the International Criminal Court. As far as America is concerned, the ICC has no jurisdiction, no legitimacy, and no authority. The ICC claims near universal jurisdiction over the citizens of every country, violating all principles of justice, fairness, and due process. We will never surrender America's sovereignty to an unelected, unaccountable global bureaucracy.
Trump's decision to come out of ICC, which is International Criminal Court, sends a lot of signals and a lot of happiness to some of us. From time of the inception of ICC, David Matanga and others, I want to thank David Hoyle, my professor, Professor Hoyle in London. Thank you very much for mentoring me to stand firm to discuss the African question on the ICC. It is very important, therefore, for the people of Africa to understand that while you rejoice, while you want to hate Trump, Trump has made it very clear that globalization is not part of his agenda.
America is governed by Americans. We reject the ideology of globalism, and we embrace the doctrine of patriotism. Around the world, responsible nations must defend against threats to sovereignty, not just from global governments, but also from other new forms of coercion and domination. In America, we believe strongly in energy security for ourselves and for our allies.
Today, as we speak, this nation cannot be the same. This nation is paralyzed. This nation needs serious redemption, needs the building of bridges. As a result of the ICC, the anger that was flowing from one end to the other created a problem that we see here, but people don't want to admit. People wait in Africa. Trump is correct. Let's wake up. Let's have a rebuff that delivers to hope so that our people don't perish in the Mediterranean Sea. A rebuff that will bring about peaceful resolution of conflicts, like the conflicts that occur in South Sudan between Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. These conflicts don't give us any hope. These conflicts don't give us anything that is yearned for. These conflicts are a pity to Africa. We are allowed into the ICC in 1998 by Kofi Annan. America rejected ICC, stood firm and said, we can give you the money, but we shall not ratify for you because we have institutions. We have failed our own judiciary systems, but we want to be judged by another judiciary system which has no jury, it has no evidence, it has no separation of powers between the chief prosecutor and the investigative arm, and then with the prosecuting arm. That's the Africa we have.
Thank you so much for joining us and for continued to keep us company. This is Good Morning Africa. I am Miriam Gutu, and right now I'm joined by Dr. David Matanga. Doctor, good morning.
Good morning.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana. Good morning, Africa, wherever you are. Thank you very much for being part and a parcel of our television station. We thank you for your patronage, and we thank you for the continued support. I want to thank Miriam for having gone through the first phase of the African news headlines. I want to go straight to, and if you want to continue watching us, those watching us on channel 003 on international free-to-air services, those in Germany, Berlin, in Europe, everywhere, wherever you are in Khartoum, you can watch us on those channels 003, Nilosat, free-to-air decoders. If you have them, you are part and a parcel of us now. In conjunction with our brothers, South Cameroon Broadcasting Pan-African Station Corporation, we always bring you where Africa meets Africa. Thank you very much, my German lady, this morning. My role is my role is to say, begin with the topic Kenya. The judiciary, the war on judiciary has been going on for the last 1 year or so. The cartels seem to be playing back and fighting back. If you read the Standard newspaper, the owner of the money, who he claims to be 2 billion shillings, the money was not fake.
But we said the money was not fake. I think we said it here.
Yes.
Yes.
So, if the money was not fake, what the cartels are doing, the law, the lacuna in the law, it now puts the defense, the DCI, to say whether the money was fake or not. And therefore, this man is going to say, I banked my real money. That's why we need the real forensic lab. The money that was got, they have now gone. You see, I told you the cartels, the mafia people here operate so perfectly. You know why? So perfectly. Because what they have now realized that there is a lacuna in the law. The DCI here does not have an equipment there and then, like Britain. If Scotland Yard is arresting you, your exhibits will be done there and then. And then they will say, this is your wallet, passport, this found together with this. Okay? Mm-hmm. And the money is this. And this money, this is the clean one, this is the fake one. But now some lawyers have gone back and told Mr. Odede that you just say, sorry. Have you seen the mafia? Are you picking my people outside there? I hope you are picking what I'm saying. They have told this guy, said my money was right money. So it is up to the DCI now to prove that that money was not right money. And the order is tall. So because at that time, the probability stands, was it the money? Mm-hmm. Okay, if it was...
It's his word against the DCI.
Exactly. Yes. So we are come to an end. This is where, these are the courts President Uhuru Kenyatta tells us to go to. This court, the judges are going to say, the judge handling this case will say, and now, we can't now satisfactorily say this money was fake.
Because he's demanding for the exhibit.
Yes.
Court, and it's not there.
I don't know. You have read the full story, yes. The exhibit now might, because the fake money of 2 billion, it was 32, was it 32 million?
So 20 million.
$20 billion, mm-hmm. Which was 2 billion mm-hmm. Kenya shillings.
Yes.
Now, where is that exhibit? Now, he claims the exhibit is clean money. Have you seen where we are getting a problem? The owner of the money says, no, my money was clean. And what they are going to say in court is that somewhere, someone planted wrong money on me. And that case is going to go slowly, 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 and it goes to heaven. Are you with me? So we've lost. These are the courts. And when this appeared, the magistrates court again, they are simply going to say, there is no enough evidence to prove that that money was fake. And therefore, the state of Republic of Kenya has to pay Mr. Odede his 2 billion shillings.
But will they investigate how he acquired all this money? Leave it there.
But that's now periphery.
Money laundering there.
Yes, ma'am. Now have you seen? This is ujauri. This is to be clever. This is now a mafia man coaching these guys. A mafia. Some people have sat down. The lawyers, the defense lawyers, are not acting like court officials. They're acting like criminals. They have gone and told them, you say you had your money. Because they know the weaknesses in the DCI. They know the weaknesses in the criminal justice system of Kenya. I have been telling you people in Kenya here, change the criminal justice system.
But I'm shocked that the DCI took the money and the exhibit and did not confirm if the notes were real or fake. You would assume that is the normal practice. You would assume. Even at the money was gotten from a bank. That was where it was being stored. The bank has even the facility, the whatever.
My doubt about all this thing is it is not possible for the bank manager just to tell you you have carried a box whether it has stones.
Just keep it there.
Yes.
We'll keep it
or bomb.
And it cannot even fit in the normal safes.
Yes. And then, or a bomb. And I say, put the bomb there.
They didn't even check. That is not even the...
There is something very... which right from what the DCI should do. Go back and sweep the entire bank.
All of this is not adding up.
It doesn't add up at all.
Even to a child, I mean,
it doesn't add up. Yes. How can the bank manager accept a bomb to be kept in his bank? There is stupidity here while Kenyans are looking for quick fixes to get this whole corruption scandal out of it. Now this Mr. Adede, very well knowledgeable, a well-organized launderer, international launderer. He's very good.
Well connected.
Yeah. He's well connected with someone, a headmaster. There is a principal here who teaches people what to say, where to say it, how to say it.
There's a school people go for these lessons.
Yes.
Okay.
You didn't know there's a principal here who teaches these things. There are several principals in Kenya. You know, Kenya is fond of creating schools for criminality. And during the ICC, Kenyans created a school for witnesses. Witness colleges, academy.
Witness coaching.
Academy. You can't coach them on the streets.
Witness coaching academy.
They coached witnesses against Uhuru Kenyatta, against Ruto, against the Ocampo 6. Kenyans are very good at creating those type of things. Academy. There was a witness academy headed by Maina Kiai and Mr. the late Wafula, Kenny Wafula, the one in Eldoret. That all these guys, Haki, Yetu, Sijui, they create. You see, they got the opportunity how to get the dollar. How do you get the dollar? How do you get the dollar from George Soros? Is to create an academy and say, I will provide you witnesses. I know there was this one was there, Maina Kabutu was there, OTP 411, OTP 11, OTP 12. They were there in the State House when Kibaki was giving money to go and kill. Witness collected, procured. That's why I brought that word procured, and they said, I said procured as a Ugandan. We Ugandan English is very clear. Procured, because English found us educated. We are more educated. Protected, we are protected. We are not colonized. I want to tell you frankly today, the colonized minds are the ones that learn English, what a Mzungu does. Very well. You are Zimbabwe, the same English learners. You see? They are the same English learners. If you go to Zimbabwe, they speak exactly like a white man.
Mugabe is excellent.
Yes.
Although he studied in London, you know.
Yeah.
Yes. But that aside, Kenya can really create some schools that are not really very good.
I'm telling you, there's a school created here. Miriam, there's a school coaching anybody going to that court, fixing which judge is going to be on duty. There's a school. I'm not saying this for telling a lie. There is an expert in this whole theft, this grand theft of Kenya, grand looting. There are several experts who know business very well, who do business very well, who know how they can tell you that there is no worry here.
Who knows how to manipulate the system.
Yes. You must look at that guy.
I know you must be part of the system for you to know how to manipulate the system.
Exactly. So you tell me.
This is a bigger thing than just fake money, and the bank needs to be investigated.
A bank manager cannot tell me.
Must be.
Someone carried mattresses and I put the mattresses in my bank and I am giving him money, daily money, 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, basing that I have the keys of mattresses that are being kept in my safe deposit. Surely?
Not possible.
When you are going to this safe deposit, you go to open with who? There's somebody you open with. Even if they leave you in the room. But doesn't this person find out whether you carry the mattress?
They have their own official. They have to ascertain what is inside.
Yes. This guy here should not tell us a lie.
Even for their own.
Should not tell Kenyans a lie. They have conned us. They have conned this country. It is finished. Let's be very honest. President Uhuru Kenyatta can tell us we go to court, there is no evidence. Okay, let's leave it. But if you leave it, it will grow worse until it brings Bashir here.
No, Bashir is gone. And
no, it brings the type of things happening in Sudan.
And the rest of some African countries. Now, the arrest was made on March 19th, almost a month later. Why is it now that he's claiming this money was not fake?
Someone has coached him. Miriam, you answer it nicely. Someone has coached him, and that I am telling you, Kenyans are very good at coaching witnesses, at coaching suspects, at coaching judges, at coaching defense lawyers, at coaching suspects. Very good. Tell me where Obado's case is. Will you see anybody sentenced for Sharon?
Well, the two are still in police custody.
Yeah, the ones who are poor, Oyamo and his friends, I will cry for those boys all the time. Will they be sent? They are going to be sentenced, hanged. But Mr. Obado will be told, I was not there on the scene. Because all the witnesses...
Even after his cell phone records,
yes,
that he was traced to the scene.
To the scene.
It shows, yeah, the GPS.
If he can buy he's now destroying evidence. There is no court here. And the President Uhuru Kenyatta tells us to go to court. Which court?
I'm shocked that Obado has not. Okay.
Yes, Sharon pains us.
When you think about it.
Come to Joey.
Oh, yeah, that case also.
Look at those two gentlemen. They will never come. There is no justice here. Where is the justice? The two were, even now, even on trial line, the two have not been allowed to go out of
industrial area.
Because the type of lawyers handling Obato are former judge Obija. You see them? And another guy who fixes cases up to heaven. The other two men, they are going to die. They will be fixed. Look at that guy. He's still in jail. But a celebrity is out. You get the point? Even her car was returned, everything was returned.
Yes, her car was returned.
Yes, even before the completion of the case. So why don't they just tell us the case is no more? That's the court. This is the court the president is telling us to go to. When we talk about this, they say people are vigilantes. So we leave it. Do you want to leave it? How we shall? The media is not forcing. The media is only saying, surely loophole. Look at that loophole of this money. This man now knows. This man now knows. The man knows very well that it is a very big problem to have police to come back and say we have produced the 2 billion fake money. He has now discovered the loophole.
But I'd like the police to come with that money and produce it.
Yes, they will produce it. The DCI have the fake money.
They can decide to say this is not the money.
Yeah, you see, technicality. We are going to lose the case on technicality. That's why we need, it should have been a forensic approach on the spot.
On the spot.
Yeah, like Britain, that's what they do. Each department arrives, then they test part of
the... How did they arrive to the conclusion that the money was fake? Somebody must have tested.
They also test, yes. But now you are testing by the way. But in normal policing, the testing should be on the side. That whole bank should not have been allowed to work.
And then a whole backless bank.
Yes.
Having fake
forensic even to pick the fingerprints, all the managers who went to that strong room.
The cameras are
there. The cameras, everybody would have been, the money would have been left in that place, and the entire bank should not have worked until they conclude everything, piece up even that money to make sure that it doesn't move, so that a person again says, my money was moved from where it is, so I don't know. You see now, right now, Mama, it is the same game, Mama.
That is a gone case.
Mama, it's the same game.
It is.
This case we shall not hear about. Because this man is going to say, no, that was not my money.
Yes, it's going to be a ping pong between the DCI
and defense lawyers.
Yes.
The DPP and the defense lawyer. So it's a case where the judges, and they know they have already fixed their judge. If you can tell the judge that who says now you can go to the scene and even go near Sharon's parents. We have judges here who are strange. So in a nutshell, we were going to talk about the Kenya judiciary, the corruption in the Kenya judiciary. The cartels are fighting back. The earlier the government takes a stand, the better for us. The earlier the government initiates, finds another alternative other than litigation. And I'm just giving advice. Mr. President, you were in Mauritius. Mauritius is one of the corruption-free zone where offshore banking takes place and the people are scrutinized before you bring your money there. Maybe learn a few things from the president there. How he managed to make Mauritius a very attractive place of no corruption. Then Kenya needs an extra means, not litigation. You can't litigate in the Kenyan courts and win a case on corruption. I don't see. But that's it. We shall go by the order of the president.
With things like this, it's difficult.
It is difficult, Miriam. Haki. It's very difficult. So you need an extra operational method to curb down this corruption. You notice that there is somebody talking so proudly. There are people talking here as if they are the cleanest people. They are aware of that you not get anything on them. They are aware. I'm telling you, Miriam. You can't get anything. We've given this. Look, this guy should be very ashamed. But he's now turning the heat on the DCI to say, bring my money. I had kept my money, clean money, 2 billion. So, okay, let's see where you sold a factory.
Yes.
Let's go.
You must have sold something.
Let's go back to the factory. Let's go back to the everything.
Let's follow where you got this money.
Where you got the money.
Now they should get him from that.
Yeah.
You think they will do that? But unless that money is produced and they can't bring the fake one, they'll say it's the real.
Thank you very much. Viewers, that's the top of the hour. That is the corruption. The cartels are fighting back. Corruption in the judiciary. That brings us to the end of the first show, the first hour of our show. The viewers, next is, as Miriam will announce.
Yes, the diaspora dispatches, and we'll be looking at the state of democracy in Africa with special attention to Kenya, Cameroon, Uganda, Sudan, South Africa, South Sudan, Zimbabwe, Libya, Ethiopia, Gabon, Tanzania, DRC. The countries are endless.
Those are the countries that we shall look at.
Yes.
When we return with the events that have taken and shaken the world in Khartoum, where the strongman has been ousted and in his safe place. Mark you, safe place.
He's in a safe somewhere.
Yes, and then when you look at the Pope kissing the feet of warlords, it gives you a warning shot. And I'm telling you that I was in that same St. Gideon. And the Pope, the late Pope, by then, John Paul, is it?
John Paul.
He told us, he came and addressed us, he did not kiss our feet. But for us, he caught.
He never kisses feet, really.
No, because this is, I will tell you the story of why the feet has been kissed.
Okay.
If Riak this time you come back to Sudan and start any other war, my brother's war, what will hit you, you won't know. This is God. I'm a Christian. I'm not a Catholic, but I'm a Christian. I believe in the Holy See. The Holy See speaks. The Holy See makes a more or less good direction for God. Let the Sudanese here today, that Mama Garang, ever making noise everywhere. Now you have been kissed the feet.
Was kissed?
That, yes.
Okay.
President Salva Kiir, the feet have been kissed.
Yes.
You have taken Africa to that level where the Pope has to kiss your feet, and then you come back, you kill more people. What will strike you after this? You won't know. That is the end of the blessing. That blessing comes with tears. The Pope was crying tears.
He is. He's been.
He cried tears over Sudan.
And the world is.
And the world is crying tears over Sudan.
About South Sudan.
These guys have killed 394,000 people. 394,000 people. That Deng, the one you see, Riak, Salva Kiir, all of them, they have killed 394,000 people. There's no accountability. Where is accountability here? Then now the Pope has gone further and done something very good for the world. Wacha warudi tena waanze bunduki yao. Utasikia. Some of them might not see life. Nakwambia, you go and study the Vatican. Study the formation of the Vatican from centuries. And then link it with the Italian politics. That is a very serious gesture.
Very symbolic.
That mama, the widow of Garang, if she comes and she does not stabilize this peace agreement now, Quisha, our Quisha, Pope has finished them. You go and pick a gun again to go and kill people in South Sudan. Even your helicopter might not reach there. Utaona. I'm talking the truth. Enough is enough now. No more killings. Come back home and restore peace. You have ashamed us as Africans. You have ashamed the whole continent for you to be even someone to weep in order for you to understand that the people are dying. Why did you first of all in the first place fight? What was this that Riek Machar wanted to get that Silver Key had? What is it that Silver Key had that Riek wanted to pull and the vice versa? They brought a war. You hated, all of you hated Arabs. You fought against Arabs. You got your independence. Then you turned guns on yourselves. As this is unfolding, Pope is kissing these guys in Rome, back in Khartoum, another upheaval. Pope has to come to kiss again.
Can he? Okay.
Yes. Have you seen how God makes? And then you are from here.
Such a coincidence.
This is something that Salva Kiir, Riek Machar.
They must be held accountable. And at some point, the world must turn against it.
Not even, we are not, this now,
don't.
What is going to happen, the Pope has said, don't go further than this. The world will listen to the Holy See. America is going to look at the Holy See. This is the last bastion of our struggle against these people to reform, to sit on table, to reorganize South Sudan. If they pass this, they come back and we hear them killing people again, I swear even the helicopters might disappear in the sky. It's a serious thing. If they were going to Rome thinking they were going to have brandy or drink milk or wine, they have got it now. The them came back. This lady of Garang should preach peace. Should tell the sun to preach peace. The sun does not preach peace. Yeah.
Maybe it's still bitter from the...
But it doesn't matter now. They have done, this is finished.
Enough is
finito.
Finito.
You try something else, utaanguka bila kujua. Your plane where they are, you don't climb. If they start fighting there, this is a very serious curse. A blessing, at the same time, a very serious cleansing exercise of kissing the legs, the foot of warlords.
Warmongers.
So if they come back and they start this journey of gymnastics, of theirs of fighting, oh, be the what? Bukura, Bukura, they will have it. Don't kill people again. Don't come to South Sudan and kill. Go and sit down, make a bring your people together, address conferences together. Move from one state to the other. Together.
Unify the army.
Unify the army. Surrender your military. Put up respect IGAD. Respect everybody. They have ashamed us Africans.
The world was very hopeful.
They are not very far from my age. I'm in the 60s. And I have got to tell the truth. Riek beats me by a few years. I've got to say the truth. You have ashamed us. Don't pretend walk in our streets.
Look at those pictures.
Yes, walk in our streets and tell us you are worth it. This time, if you kill people, nowhere. This is again the last mark. And let it be known. Let countries around this place know it. That this is the last action that the Holy See can bestow on human beings. You are lucky because God has struck. You know what God has done? Has struck twice. God struck Juba and has struck Khartoum.
The two Sudans.
The two Sudans.
What a coincidence.
You can see. As the Holy Spirit, the Holy Sea,
yes,
cleanses Sudan, South Sudan, Khartoum explodes to chaos.
So there's no going back for Machar over there.
Machar has to come to Kenya or Ethiopia. I will find out later. By Sunday, I should have news, or I will post it, because I know I get everything from there. I told you, Father Saint Gideon is me. So, I knew them in 1996. Dr. Fabio and the rest, all of them. Sicolonio, all of them. Those are my friends. They are there. In fact, they are in pictures. If you see the wider pictures, I can show them. These are the people who helped to hammer the Uganda peace process. It is them. I've traveled to Rome 1998, and again, I traveled to Rome in 2008. 2007-8, I went to Rome.
Wow.
That's why the peace process, and I've been calling people here. You saw my first annoyance. The peace process in South Sudan needed a guarantor.
No, it has one. That was finished with a kiss.
Yes.
To the feet.
And that kiss. And I've invited you to read the mafia books and read the Vatican. The formation of why Vatican stands as a state.
It's no joke.
A state of its own in the world. Walai. You will come back and tell me that this Ugandan is correct. No more playing, no more games, no more telling us you are not coming on May this, you are done. The next caveat waiting, I swear, the next thing waiting for South Sudan, for these two men and their commanders, if they break this dime,
they have next month.
Yes.
Very close.
If they don't come back and say, you know what we have done? We have ashamed Africa. We have been the first people whose feet were kissed publicly. Usually the Pope does it privately. And touches you privately. If they don't,
they are such a letdown even to the people of South Sudan.
There is a draft resolution.
Very hopeful after the independence in 2010.
Can I tell you that I am always very frank with you and my viewers? The draft resolution sending the two leaders to a tribunal has been done. And it has just been put on hold until after May.
To see if
yes, and until after all these other efforts
have failed.
Yes, setting a tribunal. 384,000 people.
Over and above. In fact,
and above.
The UN
those are the number.
Puts it at over 400,000 now.
Sudanese perished.
Dead.
Yes.
And over 4 million displaced.
So please, Dr. Riakamakia, my friend, you are watching me. You know?
Yes, and DJ Hakim, they're saying they need to ask for forgiveness. Yes, from the people of South Sudan and for the rest of African nations who supported them in gaining their independence and who supported them, hoping that finally the people of South Sudan will get their rest, will get their country.
They need to thank everybody and ask
for forgiveness.
For forgiveness from Kenya. Kenya helped.
It played a very big
role. Kenya has lost money. From the first time Riaka made a call to me, I did hand that call to the people who know on my satellite phone. I helped that country. But I wrote a document. Have you seen where the document has ended today? It ended yesterday. Stephen, bring it on if you have time. Bring the document up. That document I wrote in 2013. 5 days after the war had broken out, I gave it to Amina Mohammed, by then the foreign minister, to put to the IGAD. That's the document. If you don't use that document, forget it, let's have a tribunal. Anybody running around that is doing anything there, useless. You need that document. The basic needs of people. What do South Sudanese want? That's it. Read that document on www.panafricanforumltd.com. Breaking the cycles of violence in Sudan. What do Sudanese want? That is the every day. The late Garang, I quoted him live from his mouth when I met him in 1985, 86 in Irunda. That's what he said. The basic needs of the people of Sudan is not separation, is not fight, it is a unity. If you don't go back to the people to ask what they want, Pope has now kissed your feet. You are now done. Am I all right? Mm-hmm. Yes. That is one of the items flowing in the whole world. Apart from Bashir. The man who tormented you is out.
Yes.
Now you are back on scene. God has cleaned you. Mm-hmm. God has cleaned the people of the leaders of South Sudan, mm-hmm, from Madame Garang to President Salva Kiir to Dr. Riek Machar Tengi to Deng. Mm-hmm. They have been cleaned. Taban Deng. You have been cleaned now. Go back and rebuild your country. Mm-hmm. This nation needs you. Not the people have died.
They need not their ego.
If I'm telling you, if you bring their ego, they will perish.
Because that is what they've been. Yes.
If they touch another person now, they come to Sudan and then get a gun. Even that gun might fail to cock, and it hits you instead. They have to come back, abide by what they went for. And they agreed for this. This is the highest ceremony in the Catholic Church, in the Vatican, since the creation of Vatican State. Mm-hmm. I've read, you can't defeat me. You try and see. Defeat me on that. I am always honest. Defeat me. You know, I challenge Miriam. I challenge these guys to come. Come. And we do an interview, an exam on conflict resolution. Hey, let's do it. If you can write better English than this.
To have such an old person kneeling down and reaching out to your feet, man, they have to show some.
Have you seen? If that is the document you see on table. And that's what I'm going to tell some of the guys. That's what I'm telling. Even look at what the Pope is doing. That document, return it. And I tell people, return it, sir, production man. Read that document inch by inch, word by word. You will see what Dr. Garanga was meaning. There would be no Bashir going to exile. He's gone. You didn't break the news to people?
He's not under detention.
No!
He left.
What are you telling the world?
To which country?
Ask me.
Has it been confirmed?
I'm a friend to confirm from who?
To which country has it been confirmed?
Saudi Arabia. He's gone. Mm-hmm. Why don't you ask me?
That's okay. Now Sudan.
Close guy. I was. Mm-hmm. You only make one telephone call. Didn't you see me yesterday? Mm-hmm. My man is there. Bashir is not there. In safe custody. Not in Sudan. No. It's gone.
So who will be answerable to what happened?
To answer what? The man who took over from Bashir has already requested my help in the ICC. So what people are talking nonsense.
Because he's also indicted.
Yes, people are talking nonsense. When you look at Kenyan television, it's stupid. They talk nonsense. Talk to experts like me, Wagwan. Don't tell people lies. The man who took over, Lieutenant General Wafu, Admiral Wolf, he's already in touch. He cannot hand over his fellow friend. He's also wanted. So people here were saying, yeah, now this government will hand over. Who? How do you hand over your friend when you are also following him?
But Sudanese people have come out and said, you do not want.
That's the guy. Am I wrong? Look at him again. I've already been contacted
by the
establishment in Khartoum.
Sudanese people are
they need help on how they will sort out. ICC was gone. Americans had accepted. I'm telling you, I'm at the center of the highest controversy you don't know. Americans gave me those documents to file a case against ICC about their own companies, NGOs, giving Ocampo money. They were not happy. A good thing with American justice and white justice is you can laugh with the policeman in Europe when he's going to lock you up. You think you are telling him something very good. It's the American government itself that gave me the documents to file in the ICC. I'm now telling you. And they even now know that this thing of Bashir was fake. Not that people did not die in Darfur, they died.
A lot of them.
But they just can't allow Mr. Ocampo to step in the US again.
So who should be held responsible for
They can't allow Besuda. They have discovered Kumbe all the time what this Ugandan man was saying is correct.
Yes, but who will be held responsible for the deaths that happened in Darfur? It happened under his watch.
It happened.
Under his watch.
But there are people. Did you charge the other people of Darfur? Did they shoot with water?
Both sides.
Answer me.
But
Answer me.
Happened under his watch.
Miriam, my dear,
The backstops.
German partner.
The backstops.
Did the other one, the group, Gemma, was it shooting with water? Was Gemma shooting with water? Or was it using water bullets that don't splash on you? Hey!
So what are we saying?
Let's talk this. Now that Pope,
what happened in
now that religion has come in this, let's finish it nicely.
the spiritual retreat.
The ICC,
Yes.
and the viewers listen carefully, get your pens. This is the International Criminal Court.
Yes.
A silly court, obnoxious court. The setting of this court, I was there. Fortunately, all these things happened in Rome. I was there in July 1998 in Rome. When Kofi Annan hooked us, we sat, we drank coffee, with a lot. It was a spring. It was very good weather. They just left summer. I remember very well. We thought, for us, why we went to support the court, as Ugandan opposition leaders, tulikuwa nafikiri we shall catch someone who knows himself. Tulikuwa nafikiri, if this court comes, iko mtu tulikuwa nataka kushika. So people in opposition, all of us clapped and said, let's support it. That Kofi Annan said, this is the only way to get international justice from dictators and so on. They wouldn't work that in the language. By then I was not very educated like it is. Later on I realized, whoa. This was, whoa, duped. Actually, not wound-hicked. We were duped.
Into supporting the cause.
Now, from 1998, this court, everywhere it goes, it arrests one side. You think in Congo, Kabila was not killing?
Mass graves were found. Even just the other day after the...
Has that court ever arrested Kabila's troops or commanders of Kabila? Show me. Show me one commander of Kabila who is in the ICC. Nobody. Let's go. Central African Republic. Bozize, the late. Bemba was indicted. Bozize died before. He was not indicted. Bemba was taken. It is Bozize who invited Bemba to come to Central African Republic. You invite me to your home in the game. Then they find me in your house. They don't arrest you who invited me, they arrest me. Move on. Côte d'Ivoire.
Bemba, was he not arrested in the streets of Belgium?
No, he was but he was invited to go to Central African Republic to help Bozize or another president there to quell a coup. And he himself was not there. He sent his troops because he had an army. They arrested Bemba. They left the president who said, come and help me.
Okay.
Let's go. Ivory Coast.
Bagbo.
They arrested Babuko.
And the wife.
And the wife and another person. They left wasn't Ouattara.
Ouattara, yes.
Ouattara. Ouattara should have been in jail. Because Ouattara came fighting, removing a government that was legit.
But he had won. And Bagbo...
Whether he had won, but the Constitutional Court of Ivory Coast says what? Hello? Hello?
was refusing to hand over...
Hello? Constitutional Court of Ivory Coast says the Constitutional Court was the only mandated organ to announce results.
But it was compromised.
You cannot announce your results, Mr. Ouattara, because you have been backed by the French. The French masters in Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, let me take off my glasses so that people can see me.
Yes.
I would die talking like Nkrumah.
Of course, Ouattara had, not Ouattara, but Bagbo had fallen out with French.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the French said the election was rigged. Today they can't show us the proof of rigging. They imprisoned Babuko. Come to Uganda.
Yes.
Let me leave Uganda, I will bring it to us.
Kenya.
It is very laughable.
Kenya, they balanced. By the left, the top.
Kenya, they came to Kenya. They said Kibaki and Raila, they leave them alone. I have notes. By the way, I have those documents.
Yes.
You don't know, if you touch me, I can bring them out.
I'm not touching.
Remember, Uganda was in the United Nations Security Council.
I'm not touching.
When Ocampo went to present the first case of Kenya, the only man speaking here. So mmeshaweka bitu mingi jameni, muniwache nyenye. They left Raila, they left Kibaki.
The main players.
They went for my good friend Uhuru.
Surrogates.
And they went for my good other friend, the deputy president, Ruto. The size, tall, because Uhuru was taller than Ruto. Take that tall one. Then, like a cows in the market. That's the ICC. Then they went for Uhuru because he's 6.2 feet tall. Then they brought Uhuru, Ruto, put it there. They brought the shortest, Joshua Sang. Look for the shortest one, another cow. Then they brought Musaura, an old cow also, put it there. Look for General Ali,
An old cow.
Hey, hey!
That is hate speech.
No, it's not. Old, literally, politically. There's no hate speech there.
He's an oldest civil servant.
Servant.
But
in terms of the ICC, they look at Africans as cows. They collect us in the market. I'm talking in the terms of the market. They came to a market. They selected the people they want.
And they're still keeping the envelope with the rest
yes.
of the it.
Then mysteriously a Silewaki judge called Waki. Another one called Majanja. Another one called Kegoro. Can I name them? They sat, they concocted a list of the people they hate. The people they didn't want to be in this Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta, William Ruto, and the other four. They were not wanted to be here. Those two. That guy there says he studied law rubbish. What law did he work in study? Waki took the envelope. Who was the appointing authority? Kibaki. Why do you hand the envelope? The envelope was handed to a non-body, a busybody called Kofi Annan. Kofi Annan was sent here by African Union. I want you to put your money here, and I want people in Africa, those watching me, go to the African Union.
My pass is over there.
Yeah, go to the African Union, my sister, and find whether the Kenyan report is there in the books. People say Matanga, Matanga. Go to the African Union and ask whether Kofi Annan handed the report to the African Union Secretary General or chairperson called Jean Ping. Is the report there? I've looked. My friends in the intelligence in Ethiopia, Makilza now and me, good buddies, the late. I told them, look for that report if it was handed there. Menes told his chief of intelligence to look for that report. Petty. The report was never handed back to AU. Mr. Kofi Annan, because he wanted more money for Kofi Annan Foundation, which is based where? Headquarters where? France, Paris. Remember, Kofi Annan's wife is from where? Paris.
It's just a coincidence, no?
Their marriage, coincidence. Have you read her history? She's a member of the DSGE. Yeah. I know everything.
Love has no boundaries.
Yes. Why is she there? Why did Kofi Annan leave for an African woman and married that one in order to get the Secretary Generalship? Where?
Okay.
Wachana. So, I'm telling Africans the truth of this ICC.
But of course in the matters of Bashir. The case of Bashir. Bashir, you know,
listen,
he's had his own problems.
Can I now say why Bashir?
He sheltered Osama bin Laden.
That is a problem.
Yes, it is.
Who taught?
So he's not a very
who taught Osama bin Laden?
The CIA.
Who taught Osama bin Laden to kill?
The CIA. But still.
We are Pan-Africans. We should support our continent. Yes. Who brought this mess of Osama bin Laden to kill us every day now in Somalia? Who? What did the Americans do in Somalia? They left us a burden. They left Ugandan troops, my brothers dying there every day, and the Kenyans. We should not glorify these countries for nothing. We should tell them the past mistakes of what they have done, the dangers that they have brought to us,
and their contribution to
the contribution they have done against for this, conflict. In Bashir's case,
and Janjaweed, throw that in there,
and the Jema.
Yes.
You can't talk about Bashir without talking about Jema. Jema was not fighting with water. Show me one leader of Jema who is in trial. Show me. Give me more money. Show me one leader. If you say this is genuine, It's a genuine court. Americans are right to tell this court, in fact, they should actually bomb it.
Not bomb it.
Yes, bomb the court.
Haftar should bomb it.
No.
He's the one bombing things right now.
No. The court in Geneva, Americans.
But they're not party to it.
Yes, no, just giving sanctions and a visa is not good enough.
It's not good enough.
This woman should be locked up. Mama, Mama, give me a signal.
Fatou Bensouda should be locked up.
Yes. Ocampo should not be talking and eating. He should be eating food with Taylor.
He stopped talking, Ocampo, I think.
Because I finished him. This thing of Bashir, you think they can take Bashir to ICC? It will come up. If you take Bashir to ICC today, the 17 million case, $1 billion, which they were paid by 2 NGOs, I don't want to mention the names and they die quickly today.
We don't want any deaths.
Banked the money in the bank to fix Bashir. Bashir was not fixed because he killed people in Darfur. Bashir was fixed because of religion.
Maybe because he was,
you want to hear me?
Maybe because he was the president and this.
So the
back stops with the head.
Oh, you don't know what I went through. When I filed that application against this woman, who was the personal assistant of Ocampo, who collected 17 million shillings in the Bahamas, in the bank, in Madagascar, in South Africa, I followed everything. They went and they thought they had cleaned everything from the computer systems. You know how many people have resigned from there? ICC? That woman left. She says he doesn't want anymore. The registrar left. The chairman of IOM left. They have quit. And when they hear the name Matanga, they run. They can throw themselves in the River Nile or wherever they are. Because I'm there. The only woman who told them that please, Bensouda told them, please, don't bring ICC, don't bring Matanga in this court. He has evidence of the banking. Let's leave it. Did they call me again? If you take Bashir to that court, he only needs to say, look, bring that file, and they will walk free. Americans had already cleared Bashir.
Yeah, I think
but he became big-headed.
Earlier this year, yes.
Understand? Yes. You saw them in America. They said you can't penalize American banks for the bombing in the Red Sea. They had cleared him. So, viewers, this ICC is totally a failure for Africa. Because African sides shot each other with bullets. Both sides shoot. Now the killings in Sudan, what are they for? Is water being used in South Sudan?
No.
When you tell me that some people on national television here in Kenya, they will be handed over to the Hague. My God, my foot. Which Hague? Which Hague? The man who has taken power is also wanted by Hague. Can you hand over your fellow man? Then what about you?
He's a wanted
It is the story that people watched when they came for slaves. They said the slaves. Then they came, waited. They came for more. They said it's the other group. Then last year the crocodile did what? Have you heard of that story? It started, he said, eat that one. They ate. Then eat that one. They ate. Then the crocodile looked around. There was nothing moving in the water again. So he said, sir, next is you.
Yes.
So this guy, the general, the new general cannot hand over his fellow friend. He was a fighter in the Janjaweed war in the Darfur.
He was part of...
They need help.
And that's why...
I've told you already, I've got a signal, Mama.
And that's why Sudanese...
Haven't you seen it today? I'm very bright and very happy.
And listen...
There's a signal.
You got several signals today, and that's why the people are still out in the street. They're saying we do not want this the army to be there. We want an interim civilian administration because they're feeling these people are part, and this guy is a clone to Bashir. There's no difference between him and Bashir, so they do not want him there. So that's why the protesters are still in the streets.
But he's not going to go easily. He has now.
Bashir thought he would not.
Look here. That guy is the man who trained the Janjaweed. Ask me.
Bashir left.
Don't worry. The Janjaweed. You see, there is one thing
Bashir
that
left.
On this thing.
The owner of Janjaweed left.
He left, but where is he? Where is he? Safe. In safe. They have not used arrested. They have said he is in safe custody.
Someplace.
That means they are protecting you from people killing you. Safe custody is different than being arrested and you're in custody. If you're in custody, it means you are in OB, occurrence book. Has Bashir written an occurrence book?
He's not
in an occurrence book. He's already in Saudi Arabia. By tomorrow, you'll call me and say you are right. He's gone. They closed the airspace. Only one plane left.
So what should be the next?
One plane left, Mama. Mama, okay. Give me a signal.
So right now, what will be the way forward for Sudan?
And the way forward for Sudan.
And the protesters who have said this guy is a cloned version of Bashir. We don't want him.
He's going to kill them.
And you know what the problem is? Part of the army supporting the people and part of other police. So that is going to be a problem
so
too.
There is, as far as this is concerned, the army, the one that has taken over and the one supporting are in cul-de-sac. So the only way is to shoot the civilians. I'm a military man. Is to tear gas the civilians now.
Bashir tried that, didn't he?
No, they haven't used it.
People died even just 2 days ago.
No, they are stabilizing. Do you know? They are stabilizing. The patience of the army is gonna run out. Wallahi.
With the people.
Yes.
Okay.
The bullets have been going in air only.
They've been shooting.
But wait, if these guys don't go quickly out of that square, and they continue yawning like that.
They continue yawning.
An army man has no way. Military, whether British or American. Don't you see the way they behave in Afghanistan and Iraq?
Did you just say continue yawning?
Yes, they continue yawning. Oh, freedom.
They're agitating for
go home. The man you did not want has gone.
But they do not want a military.
Okay, then leave this one.
They want a civilian.
I want to ask you.
And I think they're opposed to the 2 years. Maybe if the army would have said, give us 6 months.
Okay.
That could be sensible.
What the Americans are saying is stupid. It's very stupid. 2 years is enough to organize a free and a fair election.
And you think the army will just give back?
Yeah, to organize a constitutional, to do a good constitution. You must do a real constitution because you have abrogated this constitution. You need the time to put a civilian government in place. Jermaine, let's talk.
And what happened, like you see in Algeria, the speaker has taken over as the interim president. Why wouldn't the speaker of Sudan take over as the interim president?
You know what?
As a civilian, and then the army will just help in
which speaker?
Facilitating the process.
The constitution is broken, the speaker is gone.
Oh, there's no constitution. Yes. That is the crisis Sudan finds.
Abrogated.
Yes.
The speaker has been abrogated. The constitution is abrogated. It is not a document anymore. Yes. The army needs 2 years to set everything, then hand over. The Americans are useless by saying the army should just leave. How can you leave? There are so many groups that have been fighting
in Sudan.
If you leave Sudan like now,
it will be like
there will be a civil war.
Another Libya.
So it goes back to my position. And whenever I talk here, people should always keep a pen and a paper. I told you the regime change. Whoever is paying for the regime change wants some results. Have you seen who has come out to say army must mix with civilians? Didn't they say that? Who is saying that? America.
Yes.
George Soros.
But even the UK.
UK, yes. They want to, because most of the doctors, I know the people overthrowing the government in Khartoum.
The Sudan elite.
They are in London. Some of them are my neighbors. One of them is my neighbor. How am I knowing all these things?
But this lady...
My friend. Forget about the lady. The lady took a chance because ladies in Sudan rarely appear in public.
So they finally have a voice.
She had a voice to appear on the tank.
She's studying architecture.
And if you are going to Khartoum
in Sudan,
and you don't have your wife, don't go there. Because there is nobody who will love you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. If you are, there is no tourism in Khartoum.
Yeah.
It's only official work. Because there is no nightclub.
But you don't need you don't need your wife on official work. You just need to work and come back to your family.
Does it? If you are, what about going to the boat to eat on River Nile?
Just eat and go back and sleep and come
River Nile. You eat and eat what? All those women in that place, they are all hidden.
Good.
The whole city
should be like that.
Yes, the whole city at night becomes zero.
Fantastic. I think I would live there.
Yeah, you better for you.
Sleep early. Anyways. All right.
I want to go for tourism in a place. You have gone toward the whole River Nile where it goes. The boat takes you there. You come back eating. There is music playing. Then you go and sleep.
Yes.
No beer, nothing there. Things are not very, very complicated.
But it's working for
So this woman, for the first time, managed to climb
on top of a car and a dress.
Yeah.
She's studying engineering. She's not just...
I know.
Yeah, she's smart. And in Sudan, not abroad.
I saw so many of them. I met them, very many ladies who came to the hotel to chauffeur us out. When we were having that conference of the chief justices. Yes, my chauffeur was a lady.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes, bring a badge. President is waiting. Yeah.
That's good.
That's power.
She drove you around?
No, she was the bodyguard.
The chauffeur is
Yes. Another judge. She was our boss was a judge in the court.
Okay.
In the high court of... She was another judge. We are friends here. Even she's the one. We are friends here on WhatsApp. We talk. She's a mother of 2 children.
Okay.
And we are talking. She has told me everything.
And how are you saying there are no ladies there to,
No, there are ladies.
Yes.
But not talking. This is official talk.
Good.
But you can't go out. There's no nightclub. There's no life.
But what do you want
Mama,
to go out there looking
give
for
signal.
Looking for trouble and being headlines. Like
in where?
Like the one you're mentioning in the morning. Why do you want that? Why do people always look for trouble? I do not understand.
What is tourism?
Go to sleep at 9:30.
And sleep and do what?
Save yourself trouble.
You have gone on the River Nile with all that heat.
Eat the nice food, enjoy the nice
You need
food,
a brandy.
have a good shower.
You need a brandy to cool down.
It's only 2 days of work trip.
2 hours was 1 week.
Your brandy will be waiting.
You are talking of 2 days. We had to go to Kenyan High Commission, Embassy. Then finally.
You had a life.
Oh.
Okay.
Life came back. There is a ugali. Then there is a capilicina. There was a white cap. Cold.
When you go to Rome, what do you do?
What?
When you go to Rome.
You destroy Rome.
You do not destroy Rome. You adapt to,
Thank you very much.
You act as Roman.
Before we go,
you adapt to the culture.
The state of democracy in Africa. One word, we have 10 minutes. The state of democracy in Africa is in shambles.
It is in shambles.
It is in shambles in the sense that...
Almost non-existence.
And the Tuchud Teya says, next time, I think I will call you In fact, I have so many friends there, I will call you.
Are you in Sudan right now?
No, he's in Australia.
Yes, he said he's in Australia.
But life was not there. But let's come to the state of democracy
and just look at some of these countries.
Yes, especially Kenya. Let's start with Kenya. The Kenyan democracy is stable.
Fairly
stable. If they remove a few clips here and there.
Like which one?
Yeah, the squabble over who of supremacy after the handshake.
Because right now it is the winner takes all.
Yes, you need to remove those obstacles.
Bring something that is more inclusive.
Inclusive, and then the president must move very fast. The Kenyan president must move fast, and cut short the time of the handshake BBI investigations. They must do it day and night. Bring that report quickly.
Coming too long.
Yes, it is one of the things that is tearing the governance in this country. And I'm saying it from the good heart. If these guys collect these facts, collect everything quickly, day and night, bring it and ask. You know, I just want to tell Kenyans, please, a black professor can do better things than a white professor. It was me who cried about this redemption strategy. Redemption. Every television station. Nobody is asking me. I'm seeing obstacles. Someone has taken and they said he knows more. But Paul Mwangi and Kimani, you better ask some other better heads about this. Because it is one of the things causing problems. You have seen the complaints of what is happening, politicians. People, by the time you bring that report, I'm telling you frankly, by the time you bring that report to the Parliament of Kenya, they might reject it.
There are possibilities that
they will reject it. Yes. So, Paul Mwangi and Kimani, Dr. Kimani, please listen to advice of some other people. Don't take anything we know it. We know. No, you don't know. Because you have not been in a fight as a soldier. You must bring this thing to ask for extra advice. There are people here, someone, because he has studied one category of law, then he goes to threaten people. That he knows more also. He's younger men. He sits down to give advice. What advice can you give to a veteran? What advice can you give to a serious veteran? People must know there's something wrong. The more we delay with this BBI, the more we delay with this, it's diluting the handshake. It's causing ripples every day. And it is going to bring that animosity, coupled with corruption. That's the state of democracy here.
Yes, and just before our sister station, SCBC, I think it will be concluding the broadcast in about 5 minutes. Bia yesterday sacked the inspector of police from the Ambazonia region.
The relief. The what?
Inspector of police from the Ambazonia region. He sacked Paul Biya.
Yeah, that's the beginning of the fall of Biya. Democracy in Cameroon. Which democracy? Biya stood against himself and the one against himself. There's no democracy in Cameroon. It is not there. It's a mirage. It's a killer machine. A man who has stayed there, who is 89 years old.
85.
Whatever he doesn't know even when he was born. You think Biya knows when he was born?
He has a beautiful wife, Chantal, who reminds him.
Which beautiful wife, Chantal?
With your nice hair.
That's a rogue woman. Biya's wife buys hair of $1 million. When children in Cameroon are dying of hunger. And you call him the good, beautiful wife. Beautiful wife, my foot. This Mugabe type of woman, Grace Mugabe.
It's a problem to this country.
Yes, Emelda of Africa.
Imelda Marcos.
Imelda Marcos. 4,000 pairs of shoes Do you wear them every day? Mrs. Mugabe had dresses that she has never worn, while the people in the Zimbabwe streets walk naked. Cry Africa. Cry Africa. Cry Africa, my Africa. Is it Africa? If I had a choice to be born somewhere else, if God asked me where, I would even say, produce me on an island where there are no animals.
And that will be where?
Anywhere. Choose the island on the Atlantic Ocean.
Without animals?
Yes.
That would be boring.
So that I can be bored alone. Not to be bored with Africa. You see the type of democracy in Africa. The signs of what happened to Mr. Bashir are in Cameroon.
Yes.
And they are coming.
Slowly.
The only problem in Cameroon, why it is not coming quickly, is because the people sponsoring it in Tripoli, in Khartoum, the French, who sponsored it through Chad, they don't want to sponsor it. But the day they will come, America is coming slowly and Canada is coming slowly.
Canada, yes.
That wing is going to sponsor the Amazonians. My God.
They gave some relief there, about 6.65 million US dollars, and they said part of a big chunk of that money must go to the northwest and the southwest region, which is the Amazon. Even
the wife of, you are saying Chantel is beautiful. Chantel is the wife of an Amazonian man. Bia killed him and took the wife.
Okay. And now
you didn't know the history of Paul Bia. We is our baby. He's a woman snatcher. I have no respect for such presidents.
All right.
Let's go in another country.
Let's go to Gabon. Do you think Ali Bongo will survive this new wave of leadership change? That
you know what?
Across Africa.
Ali Bongo is at the center of difficulties. The French want Jinping, another mafia man who killed Gaddafi. Jinping killed Gaddafi. He delayed the plane of Museveni, Zuma, and another Mauritanian president in Mauritania, not to land in Tripoli to take Gaddafi. Gaddafi would be alive. Libya would not have died the way it is. Jinping, a very terrible opposition man,
yes.
A man, you remember, who sent Kofi Annan to Kenya to collect envelopes. And they did not ask Kofi Annan for the copy of the envelopes. Mr. President and the Deputy President, those are the enemies of Africa. The people who wanted you to go to jail are your enemies. You can forgive them, but don't forget where you came from. Yes.
Tanzania.
Democracy in Tanzania stands. You know why democracy stands in Tanzania? The other channel will give us an extra 3 minutes only. And we finish this.
Okay.
The democracy in Tanzania stands because in Tanzania there is a rule of law that says, and Kenya should think of that constitutional change.
That will not work here, trust me.
No. I'm telling you,
yes.
Why there is stability in Tanzania. In Tanzania, you don't go to court to complain about the presidential election.
You don't contest.
You don't, yes.
Contested.
Whoever wins the highest vote, that's it.
And
that has brought stability in Tanzania. Kenya, yesterday I was listening to PLO Lumumba.
Okay.
He was on the way from Kampala. You know, Kenyans don't want me to be in their television stations here, but we give freedom up there. PLO was there.
So what was he saying?
You know, PLO was very interesting. Very interesting. He said Kenya is the only country in East Africa with tribal enclaves. Tribes. There's no voting in Kenya. They vote tribe.
You know, we stamp our tribal kings.
Yes.
Yes.
If Raila says let's go, we go. If Uhuru says let's go, we go. Ruto says Mudavadi said, and he made a point, cardinal point. And he made very serious points. I'm waiting for him to come back to the studio to tell him, next time some of these things can cause trouble. Pierre Lumumba was in Kampala yesterday addressing a serious conference of African, gathering. And they stated so many things. The point here is this. If you create part of the Kenya's problem is what?
It's just tribal.
No. All other elections, there is no fight. There is only one fight in Kenya.
Presidential elections.
Presidential elections. How do we get medicine on it? Why can't we find...
The winner takes it all needs to change.
To change. And then this question of going to court, we are not yet civilized to go to court. Do you know that?
But you see, Tanzania...
we are not yet civilized.
Tanzania, there's a bit more of transparency, accountability.
No, like even if Tanzania had not put...
Kenya...
if Tanzania had not put that law on the presidential thing, you would see what would happen.
Okay.
It is better we die without pain than dying with pain. Do you know there is a difference?
And can we avoid the death altogether?
By putting something in the constitution that will help the country to progress. You know, if you put everything in the constitution today to say the rest of all this you can haggle, but don't touch the presidential elections. Whoever garners neat, nice votes, that's the winner.
That's the president.
But we have copied American style.
Not totally. We don't have.
You know, there is nothing like that even in Britain, Westminster.
We don't have.
We have copied the America. You saw went to the court.
Part of it.
For Bush to win.
Yes.
He went to court. The court just removed Al Gore and gave Bush. So we've copied American style, thinking that there is a person in Kenya who is paid for not working, and there is employment agency paying you money because you have failed to get a job. We have no social structures, no welfare structures. If you have welfare structures for people who understand, people would become tolerant.
Yes.
Am I wrong?
You're right.
Am I preaching wrongly today, German lady?
You are preaching. I must have missed that point. So the DRC.
Is a tomb, a bomb.
It's a time bomb. And for the first time, they had a peaceful transition since 1961. And this peace and this peaceful transition is now seems to be threatened as the gubernatorial elections happened over the weekend, and Kabila swept that. So he's having a stronghold in both the governorship, senatorial seats, and parliament. So basically, Kabila is still in charge of that country. But the person he proposed for Tshisekedi to give as a prime minister, Tshisekedi refused. So is that just a sign of what is not really working right now in the DRC? Should you expect it to get better or to get worse from looking at things like that?
Thank you very much. I will say in summary, DRC is a bomb in waiting.
It's a time bomb.
Let's quickly move to Uganda. Is there democracy? Yes, to some level, some democratic reforms, but Uganda needs to make sure that you see?
Uganda needs to make sure that?
To make sure that they change the constitution. That's one.
The constitutional amendment.
Yes, they do review. And then they do constitutional boundaries. Ugandan election is won by gerrymandering. It's not by, staffing. Stuffing ballots at the same day.
At the same day.
Yeah.
All right. So do we?
But in the question of democracies, hakuna.
Hakuna democracy in
Iko kidogo.
Just enough.
Yes, enough for the media to play about.
Yes.
But
you cannot play about.
But if you write wrongly, they'll come and seize your equipment.
If you take a photo of President Museveni sleeping at a meeting, they'll shut you down for a month.
Yes.
They did that to NTV Uganda.
Yes.
It's very intolerant.
Okay.
So the democratic space there is a bit shrinked, but those are some of the things that the opposition has been trying to fight for the constitutional reforms, for the poor governance, electoral fraud, torture, human rights abuses, and things like that. Does that bring us to the end of our show today?
There is something that is Cuban doctors abducted in Mandera.
I saw that.
This is some bad breaking news.
Yes.
Which is something that we should condemn. And why abduct Cuban doctors? They just want to bring us in confusion with the Cubans.
Oh, the Al-Shabaab has done that.
Yeah. Of course, Al-Shabaab did it with the collaboration of sleeper cells in Mandera.
So they're looking for some ransom or what?
Yeah, they should. We don't know. They just want to make it very difficult. Make it very difficult for that region. Impossible. It's another terrorist situation.
Yes.
So that no doctor goes to that place. Abducting a foreign doctor. Why didn't they give security to these foreign doctors?
Why did they send a foreign doctor to such a porous area?
No, they could have sent them, but they had to go everywhere. But why was the commissioner there? Should have put security on them.
On them, yes, indeed. We hope that that ends. It's quite unfortunate, but we hope
some of these things are not very pleasing at all.
Yes, I know.
Thank you very much. Let's end up. Thank you very much, all of you. We shall see you again, hopefully on Sunday.
Yes, for the
God willing.
Yes, indeed. All right, thank you so much for having kept us company from 11 a.m. East African time. It's just a few minutes past 1 p.m. and hopefully we'll meet you on Sunday for the Africa Showdown. But for now, I am Miriam Ogutu and it is bye-bye.